Hey, what's up, guys? It's our weekly drop, and today we're going to talk about transcribing orders. And are you fully transcribing an order? All right, let's jump right into it. Okay, so I wrote up my order already, and I have Tony Tiger received an order for Lasix 40 milligrams PO daily for CHF, as well as daily weights. Notify MD if greater than 2 pounds in 24 hours, or a 5-pound weight gain within a week. Okay, so you come back to work the next day, the DON, and then you read in your 24-hour report, and this is a note you see. So what are you going to do to make sure that you really completed an order? All right, because it just doesn't stop here, right? We got the order. Now what are we going to do with that order? And this is how I want you to start doing your morning clinicals, all right? Just follow it all the way through, okay? Because this is also going to help you. I like to do quarterly chart checks, and this is going to help you with all of that process. Okay, so we're in our morning clinical. This is the nurse's note we read on Tony. Okay, if you are electronic, we're going to either go to Tony's chart. All right, we're going to check this order. Okay, we want to make sure that we have this order fully transcribed. Okay, and we want to make sure that we also have the daily weights with the notification in it. And we want to make sure that they're actually documenting the weight within that, that order. Okay, this way, whenever the next time someone sees it, they can just go back and look to see what the previous weight was. All right, so, all right, we see that the order was transcribed, and what else should you be looking for? All right, this is the order, this is in your nurse's note, but you don't see like a notification to the MD. All right, so the other thing that we're going to look at to make sure that we are completing the entire order is we're going to make sure we have the notification to the resident or representative. Okay, so we want to make sure we have that. All right, the other thing we're going to do next, we're going to check, or we have this diagnosis here, right? We have the diagnoses. Let's check the MDS. Okay, we want to make sure that we have MDS for this diagnosis. All right, so we want to make sure that if we pull up the MDSs, we'll see CHF in there as a diagnosis. Once we do that for the CHF, we're going to go to the care plan. Okay, we want to go to the care plan. We want to see, for one, do we have a CHF care plan? Okay, if you don't, then you want to make sure you put a care plan in for the now CHF, which is going to be your focus. What's your goal? And then what is your intervention? All right, so your goal is going to be whatever the goal is for this. Your interventions is going to be like, what are you going to do to meet this goal here? Okay. Not only are we going to see if the CHF is in the care plan, we're also going to check and make sure that they have a skin care plan. All right, and the reason why I say we want to have a skin care plan, whether it's a current or at-risk skin care plan, because if we know the effects of receiving Lasix, we know that they're going to have a weight loss, okay? They might lose some weight because they're going to be losing some fluid, or they can, because they having a weight gain, they can also have some friction depending on their mobility status, okay? So we want to make sure we have a good skincare plan in there. Excuse me. We want to make sure we have an at-risk for falls if you don't have one. Why? Because we're going to be doing Lasix, and we know that Lasix is going to what? Increase them going to the restroom. All right. The other thing that Lasix can do, all right, if we don't pay attention to it, is labs, right? We know that Lasix can decrease your sodium, which if this gets too low can lead to flaccid, which then can also increase your risk for falls. Okay, we know that this is going to also affect your blood pressure. So if they have hypertension, we know that they can perhaps have lower blood pressure depending on the Lasix, excuse me, which will also put them at risk for falls. All right, so we want to make sure we have a skincare plan. We want to make sure we have an at-risk care plan for them. And if we go to like the assessment side, we can start. You don't have to, but what was your last braiding score? Because we're saying that they're going to be at risk for skin breakdown secondary to weight loss, possibly, depending on how much weight they might lose. So, what was your last braiding score? Okay, because you want to make sure whatever this braiding score is, you want to make sure it correlates with that skincare plan. All right, so if they're at a high risk, that means you want to have good interventions in place to decrease the risk of them breaking down. All right, now we talked about the at-risk for falls. So some of the things that you can start doing, if they are perhaps incontinent, that they might need frequent changes. If they are ambulatory, that they're going to be going to the bathroom more frequently. So that's why I wanted you to start looking at the at-risk for falls to make sure that you have that care plan in place. All right, so these are some of the things I want you to start thinking about when you're taking off an order. All right, the other person that you want to make sure is aware of this order would be your dietitian. Okay, why? Because now we have Tony the Tiger on daily weights. So this person is going to be losing weight. Okay, so your dietitian wants, she's going to need to be aware of that. Okay, she wants to make sure that she's monitoring the weight as well, making sure that the patient isn't losing too much, and if so, does she want to have to add anything to compensate for that? All right, so this is what I mean about when you are taking off an order. Let's try to look at the whole process of the actual order. Okay, so Tony the Tiger received an order for Lasix 40 milligrams PL daily for CHF, daily weights. All right, so we checked the order. The order is transcribed accurately. They didn't have notification, so we did do the notification to the resident and or resident representative, depending on the cognition of the resident. We want to make sure we have our focus care plan in there for the CHF, whatever interventions we have in place, skincare plan, at-risk care plan for falls, just because this will then turn into an at-risk for falls, just because they have this new diagnosis of maybe perhaps a CHF, but also because they're receiving the Lasix now. Okay, checking out the braiding and keeping the dietitian involved. All right, so this is what I want you to start looking at when you start taking off an order. Okay, it goes further than just making sure the order was transcribed right into the actual order. Okay, but you want to make sure that everything is complete, because if we don't pay attention to that, all right, if we're not paying attention to what this is telling us, then you'll notice, oh my goodness, Tony had some falls, and you're going to have to look at those meds. What was Tony on? Oh wow, Tony, you know what? He just got started on Lasix, 40 milligrams, and now he had a fall. Why? Because Tony's trying to get to the bathroom. Tony never been on Lasix before. Tony got to go, okay? So you want to make sure that you're looking at the whole picture. Remember, the goal is always to prevent, all right? Always to prevent an occurrence from happening. Now, granted, we're not going to prevent everything, but we want to be just a little bit proactive. So when you're in your morning clinical, be interactive, guys, with your morning clinical, because the more you do this, when you do your chart audits, and I like to do chart audits at least quarterly, you're going to be able to follow. It's just going to kind of flow. So if you're looking at an order, you're going to a care plan, you're going to a MDS, you're going to a notification, it's just going to flow. All right, you're going to be looking at any type of follow-up appointments, etc. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about today, how to truly take off an order to make sure that we're looking at the whole picture, because remember, anything that we put into our body must come out of our body, which can then put us at risk for some other areas. All right, so I hope this video helped. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you need me to talk about anything else, all right? I'll catch you guys next week. Have a great day.